Hi guys, this is Ashok Reddy. Now we are going to discuss static members and their control flow. Okay, here four types of static members is there. One is static variable, second one is the static block, static method, and fourth one is the main method. Okay, already we discussed static variable. Can we revise quickly? Yeah. There are three types of variables is there. One is instant variable, and second one is the static variable. Third one is the local variable. Again, these three types of variable we are going to divided into two types. Okay, 1 minute. I will show you. Class level variable and method level variable. Okay, in this class level you can say static variable and non-static variable. Okay, and method level variable you can define parameters and local variable. Okay, already we discussed static variable. Static variable, yeah. How many ways we can access static variable? How many ways we can access static variable? 4 ways. Okay, we discussed yesterday, right? How to access static variable? We can with the example also we discussed. Okay, now I'm going to now we'll discuss static block. Second one is the static block. Static block is a class level nameless block that contain only static keyword in prototype. What is the prototype? What is the meaning of prototype? This is the prototype. We can say this is the prototype. Okay, this is the prototype. This one also prototype. This one also we can say this is the prototype. But what I'm saying here, static block. This is the static block. Okay, this static block is a class level nameless block that contain only static keyword in prototype. This is the prototype. Only you can say only you can define. Okay, this is the modifier. Okay, in modifier we can declare only static. Then we can say that is the static block. Okay, you guys can clear, right? Static block is a class level nameless block that contain only static keyword in prototype. Why we can use static block? Tell me guys, why we can use static block? We can write the logic. It is used to execute. Only logic at the time of class loading. Okay, and you guys can remember static variable and static variable. Sorry, minute, guys. But yeah, this static variable and static block we can at the time of class loading identify and initialize it. Okay, then next one is the static method. This is the static method. Already we discussed methods and types of method. You guys can go through the methods and types of method. Okay. This one, methods and types of method. You guys can go through this this one. I clearly explain. Okay. and also I explain main method. Okay. I will show you. You guys can go through this main and clearly I explain. This is the understanding Java main method. Very important. You guys can go through this understanding Java main method. I have explained clearly. Okay. Then how you can call static method without creating object. Without creating object, you can call method name. Okay. For example, this is the display. This is the display is the method name, correct na? You can call directly. Display is the method name, correct na? You can call directly method name. You can call directly. It will call. But non-static method you can call directly. No, you cannot call directly. By using object you can call non-static method. Okay. Then can we see diagrammatically here? Here, here, two ways to execute logic at the time of class loading. How many ways we can execute? Two ways to execute logic at the time of class loading. Using static block and using static variable, and second one is the static block. Okay, at the time of class loading, I told you static variable and static block at the time of class loading, you can execute the logic. Okay, for example, this is the static variable. Okay, first of all, it will identify. You can initially can identify by default value. Integer default value is 0. Correct? Na? It will allocate the memory 0. Okay. Then after that, it will check any variables is there or not. In the only one variable is there. Correct? Na? That time you can define a equal 0. Once whenever initializing, that time it will call the M1 method. Correct? Na? It will call the M1 method. Okay, here you guys can remember here method must be non-void method. Okay, this is the integer, correct na? Return type is a int, but what I'm saying here, method must be non-void method. Okay, you guys can remember static method always you guys can must be non-void method. Why I'm saying non-void method? Here one drawbacks is there. Okay, I'm going to explain. Don't worry. Now, yeah, what is the drawback? First, here, diagrammatically I will show you. Here, whenever loaded into JVM, you guys can remember when JVM comes into picture. Whenever once compile the Java, whenever compiling the Java code, you will get the dot class file. You will get the dot class file, correct? No? Then once you will get the dot class file, once you will get the dot class file, and then you can run the Java, you can run the bytecode. That time JVM comes into picture, correct? No? Here once class is loaded into JVM, mean bytecode. Okay, loaded into JVM. First of all, you can declare int a equal 0. It will declare by default value int 0. Okay, then after that it will check any after that any static variable is there or not. Yeah, there is no static variable in this class, correct? Na? In this class, there is no static variable. Okay. Then here, what will happen? It will define a equal default value is 0. Okay. Then whenever initializing, that time it will M1 method is calling. Okay. M1 method is calling. Okay. This is the second. Minute. Here. This is the one. This is the one. This is the two. Okay. Whenever initializing, it will call to the M1 method. Okay. That time it will return. Here, what is this? What is this one? A. What is the value of A? What is the value of A? Value of A, it will going to access 10, right? Not 10. First, it will declare the 10. When it will initialize 10, it will return to the 10, correct? Na? Then it will store A equal to 10. That time, it will return instead of 0, it will replace 10. Now, A equal 10. Whenever you're trying to access, that time you will get the 10. Okay. Then here, public static, then it will control comes to the main method. Control comes to the main method. Okay. Here, control comes to the. Okay, you guys can understand, right? Once control comes to the main method, it will execute main. Then after that, will again I'm calling to main method. I again calling to main, right? Again, it will execute the that time here. What is the a value? Here a equal. Already I told you this is when once it will m1 method is called. First of all, it a equal to 0. Correct? Na? Once it will return the 10, a 10 equal stored in a, correct? Variable a, correct? At that time it will store a 10, correct? Na? It will, instead of 0, you can replace 10, okay? Then whenever calling main method, it will again we are calling to the m1 method, correct? Na? That time what is the a value? It will print the a value 10. It will print the a value. A value is 10, okay? There, this is the drawback. Okay, what is the drawback? While initializing a variable, that time calling a one method and also calling control and also calling from main method. So that is the drawback. Okay. Yeah. Here, what is the drawback? M1 method logic is also executed after class loading because it can call from main method. So method must be non-void method. Okay. What is the which method? Static method. Always static method must be static method static method must be non-void method because but non-static method we can while initializing the variable we cannot call, okay, because non-static by using the object only we can by if you are if this is the non-static variable. If suppose I will tell you I'm going to execute show you practically. Yeah, this is the static variable a and non-static method m1, and then it will call while initialize it will call to the m1 method. Okay, this is the main method. I don't want. Yeah, first we will discuss this one. Okay, control 1, control 2. Yeah, here see here a value is 10, correct? Na? Here a value is 0. Here a value is 10. Correct? Na? Here a value is 0. Here a value is 0. Here a value is 10. Why 10? Already, whenever while initializing the variable, while initializing the static variable, that time will return the 10 value. It is stored in 10. That time, whenever after counter comes into main method, after once it will execute it in M1, once it will execute the static variable, then control comes to the main method. That time you can execute this variable. This variable is 10. Okay, while calling M1 method. Now what happened? Now I'm going to okay. Here what I'm saying while execute. Second one is the static block. Static block to execute that logic only at the time of class loading. Correct? Na? Then we'll see. Control 1. Compilation is successful. Correct? Na? Control 2. See. First of all, first it will static variable a equal a is 10, correct na? Static a equal 0, correct na? Then once completed, once static variable execution completed, then it will comes to the, it is check any static method is there or not, static block is there or not. Okay, once static block, once static block identified, it will execute static block, correct na? So this is the static block. Once static block execution is completed, then control comes to the main method. Control comes to the main method, it will execute the main method, then it will print the a equal 10. Correct na? See, a value is 10. Okay, I think you guys can understood, right? Again, I am going to explain static members and execution flow. Then you guys can clearly now. Static members and execution flow. Whenever class is loaded into JVM, whenever class is loaded into JVM, when it will JVM comes into picture, already I told you, once compile the Java code, dot class will generated. After that you can execute the dot class file. That time JVM comes into picture. Okay, JVM comes into picture. Okay, yeah. Here, JVM allocate the memory. JVM once class is loaded into JVM allocate the memory all the static variable with the default value from top to bottom in the order they are defined. Okay, what I'm saying, whenever class is loaded into JVM, it will check whether any static variable is there or not. Static variable is there, it will identify static variable with the default value of the static variable from top to bottom. Okay, then second point is static variable initialize. Once identify static variable, you will get the default value. Correct? Na? Then second one is then all static variable initialization and static blocks are executed in the order they defined in the top to bottom. I will show you example. Okay. Now after that, already I told you before example, right? Again I am going to explain. Don't worry. Finally, main method is executed. But static method is, if static method any static method is there, the static method is executed only when we call, correct? Na? But static variable and static block without calling, while class loading, it will execute it, correct? Na? While loading class is loaded into JVM, that time it will execute a static variable and static block. But static method, once control comes to the main method, whenever calling, inside main method, whenever calling, but static method, while calling, that time only it will going to execute. Okay. Yeah. Can we revise again? Yeah. JVM is once class is loaded into JVM, mean dot class file. Dot class file is loaded into JVM. That time JVM allocate the memory. All the static variable with the default value from top to bottom. Then second one is second step is all static variable initialization and static blocks are executed in the order they are defined. Okay, they are defined in the top to bottom. Then control comes to the main method. Finally, main method is executed. Okay, then if suppose static method is there, then static method is executed only when we can call. If static method is not there, then it will completed. Okay, then I will show you practically. Yeah. First of all, this is the class. Class 5 is the class name. This is the static variable. This is the static variable. I mean, this is the static variable and static method, and this is the main method. This is the static block. Okay, how it will be going to execute it? First of all, first of all, here it will. I told you first what is the step. What I'm telling, this is the first step, right? This is the first step. Just go through here what I'm saying. Whenever class is loaded into JVM, JVM allocate all the static variable with the default value from top to bottom. Correct? Na? So first it will what is the default value of A? A is the int. Int default value is 0. First it will declare assign the 0. Okay. Then what is the second? Uh, any static variable is there or not? Okay, static variables are not there in the this class, correct? Na? Then it will going to initialize. What is the second step? Then all the static variable initialization and static blocks are executed in the order they are defined in the top to bottom. Okay, here what happened here? First, while initializing a static variable, then A is initialized 10, correct? Na? Initialized 10, correct? Na? So eh, 10 value is stored in A, correct? Na? 10 value is stored in A. Then it will check any static variable initialization is done. Then check whether static blocks is there or not. Static blocks is there, then execute the static block logic. Now this is the third one. Static, you can identify static. You can identify. You can identify static block, right? It will execute the static block. Once this is the static block, how many methods or static blocks is there? That is the stack frames are executed. Once stack frames is executed, this stack frames are destroyed. Correct? Na? This stack frame is destroyed. Okay. Then this stack frame once static blocks executed, this stack frame. Okay. Then what happened? Then what is this? This one is done, right? Static variable initialization, static blocks execution in the order they are defined in the top to bottom. Then control comes to the main method. Main method is executed. Control comes to the main method. This is the main method, correct? Na? One method. Fourth one is the main method. Fourth one is the main method. Control comes to the main method. This will execute main. After that, it will call, I am calling to the M1 method. Correct? Na? Why directly calling M1 method? This is the static variable. Correct? Na? This is the static variable. Correct? Na? That's why I am directly calling to the M1. Correct? Na? Directly I have to call to the M1 like that. So it will going to execute it. Finally, it is going to execute M1 method. Okay, this is the flow. I think so. You guys can understood, right? Once M1 method executed, this stack frame is destroyed. Okay, this stack frame is destroyed. Okay, once shut down the finally, whenever you have to shut down the JVM, that time it will destroy the JVM. Okay, and whenever stop the program, what is this? Standalone application automatically once completed, it will stop the program. Okay, that time JVM is automatically destroyed. Okay, but frameworks not going to stop automatically because whenever you have to manually have to stop the time JVM is destroyed. You guys can clear, right? I have to show you practically. This is the static variable. This is the static block, and this is the static method. this third one, fourth one is the main method. Correct? Na? How it is? Once it will execute the static, once it allocate the static default value of a, then after that you have to initialize the static method, so static variable. It will a10 is stored in a. Once it will check any static variable is there or not. Static variable is not there, then it will check any static method, static block is there or not. Static block is there, you will going to execute it. And if execute a static variable and static block, then control comes to the main method. It will going to execute main. It will print the main. After that, it will call into the M1. It will going to directly you can call to the M1. It will going to execute it M1 method. Okay. Now can I compile now? Yeah. Why it will return this incompatible type unexpected return value? Why? Because non-static where return type is void, right? That's why no need to return type. Correct na? So you guys can remember. Again, you can compile control 1. Yeah, compilation is successful. Can we run now? Control 2. Yeah. Yeah. Why the first static block is executed? I'm not going to here. I'm not going to here. I'm not going to print, right? So suppose you have to print, that time you have to execute. Okay. Now can you write here any static system the or the and because you cannot write the you cannot print the directly, correct na? Inside method you can write the logic always inside method. That's why you are getting the error. Okay. If you write any method, then if you write the it will print the 10. After that it will comes to the picture. It will executing static block. Okay. Now, already I show you here control 1. See the best example. Okay. Control 2. Yeah. It will print the once it will call to the M1 method, that time it will print the you can okay. I vary that logic. So many okay. Sorry guys. Uh, control 1. Okay. Compilation successfully, right? Now control 2. Yeah. Now just see first static variable is executed. After the static block is executed, then it will control comes to the main method. Control comes to the main method. It will print the static inside variable. Okay. Then whenever you are if you call M1 method, it will going to execute, right? If you call M1 also, it will going to execute. Control 1, control 2. Yeah, see. Again I am calling, right? So that's why again 2 times it will going to print. Correct na? Yeah. Thank you guys. But this one to close here. This is the second one, right? Sorry. Control 1. control 2. Yeah. Now, see, here static blocks is executed. But once you have to initialize the variable 10, then static block is executed. Then it control comes to the main method. Then variable equal 10 already initialized, right? While class code it will initialize a variable 10. Correct? Na? Then that is the, yeah, you guys can understood, right? Yeah. Thank you guys.